TNA is back in Las Vegas Saturday, Sunday, April 20th and 21st. The man to my left, Nic Nemeth, he will be challenging for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Nick, how good does it feel being back in Las Vegas where you had your first match out of the WWE?
Yeah, my first appearance with TNA was sliding into that ring in the main event of Hard to Kill and seeing the new champion Moose holding that title high. And I said, how can I possibly make the biggest impact on TNA I possibly can? And the first thing I thought of was that main event, which, by the way, they tore it down. They beat the hell out of each other, and Moose became out as champion. I said, that's who I want to. You pick on the biggest dog in the yard and let everybody know I am here to fight no matter what. And that's who I found out. And as we come back to Vegas, that's who I have, the current TNA world champion who has been the flag bearer for TNA for a few years now and now has the system with him, and they have been dominating every aspect of the business at TNA. So I, as someone who has fought against some odds before, look forward to getting my hands on him one-on-one. I know there's going to be some interference. I know there'll be something going down. It doesn't matter. I fight until I have nothing left, and that's how it's going to be on Saturday.
When you look at Moose, your opponent this Saturday, he's a guy that he's seen people come and go to TNA. He has stayed here. He has been loyal to the company. What makes him such a special guy?
Exactly like you said. Not just strolling in, not coming from football and going, guys, how can you help me? It's how can I help TNA? And I've seen that from him. Now, he didn't come in knowing everything about wrestling, because if you do, then you have nowhere else to go. He has constantly grown, and he has shown growth as someone who has the mind for it, the body for it, the athleticism, and now stretching out to where, with all of his accomplices with him, he has become the leader of a faction. And that just goes to show, as you dedicate yourself, no matter where you come from, what you've done, when you dedicate yourself to being better in the position you're in, he has made himself not just a champion. If he's not the champion one day, he's still one of the franchise players for TNA, and that is a feat in itself.
And you're now in TNA, but also multiple companies. How does it feel having that freedom?
It's amazing. It's very cool. I thought I was going to end my career doing 30 years in one company and then going behind the scenes, and knowing that there's so many different wrestlers and styles and companies and legends and up-and-comers out there all over the world, knowing that that exists and knowing that I never, ever got a chance to even try it, I said, I already don't sleep much at night. So I go, how can you possibly end it like this? How do you stay in one place? Listen, this is the time for me to go. It was the perfect timing. I was sitting on the bench half the time. I was a utility player, which I was for 10, 15 years. Like, break glass, we need a world heavyweight title fight, and you bring me in. But just knowing that I was mostly sitting at home, I said, I only have a certain window. I feel like I'm going to live forever, but no one's done it yet. So one of these times, I go, I'm going to have I'm going to start, my back hurts a little bit too much. My knees hurt a little bit too much. I can't really go. While I can still go at the peak of my game and be in the absolute best shape of my life, I want to fight. It might be 5 years. It might be 10 years. It might be 1 year. I don't know. But so far, I feel fantastic. And I feel like I just feel the energy every time I step foot in a ring. I'm walking into a new school every weekend. Companies, independents, all over the place.
And how good has it been so far in TNA? Because your first two matches, you went against the Rascals. You got Wentz here in Vegas, and then you got Trey Miguel, two of the absolute best in the world. You're in there, of course, but how has it been now going through the waters in TNA?
And it's been interesting to me because I famously said I did not watch wrestling because I hated what I was doing the last 5-10 years, whatever. It's kind of a bit that I went into. But if you're showing up somewhere, you're going to do your homework. That's what I've always done my whole life. You want to be the best. You can't just not know anybody. But it's one thing to know people. It's one thing to watch matches or look up a roster or see like, oh, that's pretty cool. This guy has some potential. But to actually be in the ring with someone first time, never touching, never knowing them, living in a different world, seeing that those young dudes, the Rascals, they can go. I was like, there's going to be some young dudes who can do a bunch of flips and don't know what the hell they're doing. Absolutely not. Couldn't be farther from the truth. They got it. They get it. They love TNA. They love performing for TNA. And being out there with them, I said, the future's in good hands. And two, it feels good to be against these people and be out of my comfort zone, not knowing who I'm fighting, never having a best of 500 series like I did with Kofi in the old days. Like, this is starting new. And I go, I want everyone to only believe what you see. So if I give it to you this night and I go above and beyond and crush it, if I don't do it the next night, I am doing a disservice. And that has not happened yet. but one day it will be, and I'll call myself on it, and the fans will call me on it. But until then, I will continue to do everything I can better than anyone else.
You're a big Vegas guy. You're a big music guy. Sure. How cool is it performing at the Palms at the theater? Because it's a huge venue out here in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Other than, let me just tell you, as a wrestling fan, when you have that venue that goes up around the sides and you have that feel of people on top of you, it is such a beautiful thing. I'm trying to think, it's maybe Westchester, somewhere in New York, upstate, where you can have it to where you just have everyone on top of you. It reminds me of old school ECW, or just a hot crowd that's hanging on the rafters, and you get to feel like you feed off them, but you feel that energy instead of being miles away. They're all over the place. So a special thing like that, and knowing it's Vegas, Palms, like this is cool as hell and fun. This is a vacation destination for so many people all over the world, or you come to see a show. You're going to see a show with us. I'm telling you, this card for Rebellion is going to be amazing. Everybody wants everybody talking about TNA, so every single match is going out of their way to go above and beyond with the story, the moves, everything, the people involved. Everybody wants us to be successful as a team, and I love it. It's going to be a team effort. I'm going to beat the hell out of Moose, and I hope I walk out of there as a champion.
Hopefully that's the case. I got to ask you mentioned Vegas. I actually saw you at the Motley Crue concert in the club area at Allegiant Stadium. Top 3 concerts you've watched out here in Las Vegas.
Oh, I got to see Guns N' Roses come back. I don't know what the year was. Half of the crew, Katie, myself, went out and saw brand new Axl Slash back with Guns N' Roses. That was amazing. I've seen it. My favorite is to go see Spandex Nation down on Fremont Street. And now I think only tomorrow night they're doing Spandex Nation. But I love bouncing around on Fremont Street, watching the live music, seeing the bands. And the cool thing is, going to see stadium bands is fun. That's a blast. Crew, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett. That crew is right up my alley. But Spandex Nation, you can go just walk all over Fremont Street, have a couple cold ones, and stroll in and out of there and hearing them play. I love that. I live for cover bands, getting all dressed up, dialed up with the thing. My hair's already there, but
right.
But I'll wear my Stonewashed jeans instead of my black jeans, and then we're right back into the moment.
Got to get you to Vamps too, right?
Vamped is where I've seen one of my Paradise Kitty, the all female Guns N' Roses cover band, and they rock. They're friends of mine. I've seen them there, and I go there. I wish I remembered it. It's not Van Halen, but it's a Van Halen cover band too. They always have something right up my alley playing, and you better believe I checked the calendar for this week too.
Of course, we're talking a lot about TNA, but I'll also show some love to AAA because they're affiliated with TNA. You're going to be wrestling in Triple Mania against Alberto. How big is that all these years later? What is it, 10 years since almost to the date? To be wrestling for another world championship, which, by the way, it seems like everywhere you're going, world championship match left and right.
Yes, and I'm very fortunate, and sometimes it's sight unseen, and perhaps I don't deserve it, but if I do, you will see it in the moment, because if I'm just getting a chance and showing up, I promise you I will make it worth your while to at least put me in the conversation for that title, because it's Del Rio. We've had countless fights in the past, but now doing it somewhere else, out of my comfort zone, different company, title on the line, and it's going to be something special because we haven't touched in years. But in the old days, we used to be just like the old timers. We'll see you out there, brother. We were so tight like that, having such great world championship matches. I look forward to this more than anything. Again, I'm out of my comfort zone, bouncing all over the world as a hired gun, but looking forward to that match. It's going to be awesome. And old school mixed with some new stuff, and we're going to tear it down. You better believe that.
Of course, you had gold in your old company, but how important is it for you to now be collecting gold everywhere else? You got gold in New Japan. You're potentially going to be having the biggest title in TNA history this Saturday at the Palms. How big would it be to get that one, AAA, and start collecting gold everywhere?
As much as I cannot stress this enough, it matters to me. And the story of it matters. And being able to fight for the top prize in any company matters so much to me. Collecting all of them and saying, hey, I got 10 championships, I don't give a damn about that. I want everyone to know that I'm doing the best I possibly can, and my best is better than your favorite's best. So if I'm not delivering every night, then I'll have the issue. If I am delivering night, like, that's what matters. This is what matters. The crowd, the field, the emotion, the fans. That's what matters to me more than counting titles. But having the opportunity to fight for a title and becoming champ and representing any company that I see fit and that I just rooting for, like TNA, I can't wait for every pay-per-view, like, we're going to get one more step. We're going to get 1,000 more viewers. We're going to get 10 more people in the building, 100 more people, 1,000 more. Just following that along and just feeding off that energy, then I would take absolute pride in collecting championships going, this is on my back. Let's rock and roll. We're going to the promised land.
Let's put butts in the seats. Let's have viewers on pay-per-view. That's big. One last question outside of wrestling. You mentioned you've been to Allegiant Stadium for a couple of Raider games.
Yes.
How do you think the experience is of Vegas now, not being a tourist town, but also a sports town?
That's pretty cool because, one, I love bouncing around here and listening to music, as we just went over, especially cover bands and people just playing on the streets. And so talented, but so many different ways. But having sports be another thing, or one, I love going to Circa just to make my annual Browns bet of like them winning the Super Bowl, which has not paid off in a really ever long time. But I do love that there's sports books all around and you can enjoy sports and have fun, but actually seeing them live while in Vegas with all the other shows in the world, and you're getting to go see that live. I live for destinations like this. And I just hope everyone comes and checks out this show. It's going to be totally different than anything else on the Strip, and it's going to be awesome, especially that World Championship match.
Nic Nemeth, at the end of the night, I have a feeling you're going to have that title. Thank you so much. Thanks to Ross, thanks to TNA, and thanks to you for giving these 10 minutes for everybody.
Absolutely. More than happy to. Champion or not, I got that flag on my back. TNA, let's take it. Let's go.
Va a ser campeón.